Okay, so this is the next step of the assignment that we're working on right now. One thing that I forgot to mention is that these lines are supposed to overlap. So this is exactly. When I showed you the PowerPoint last week, showed you the PowerPoint of where we were doing with this. See how this mountain cuts right through this tree? Can you all see the tree right there? It's a cypress tree. You guys know what a cypress tree is?
No.
Yes, it's a tree.
Oh, even a tree?
It doesn't have leaves. It has little spines.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it black and white, the zebra tree? Is it brown though?
It's mostly green. It's like an evergreen tree. I'm looking for an example on the posters over there.
Is the wood like brown though?
The wood on the trunk is brown, yes.
Oh, no.
Okay, so shh, keep it down, please.
Keep it down.
Okay, so the process involves drawing it first in your folder, showing it to me. Then you're going to use a regular piece of paper that's a little bit smaller than your folder, and you're going to frame it how you want it to look on your final. You're going to draw it on there, and then we're going to use a similar method that we used the other day, where you put the pencil on the back, except we're not going to do the pencil on the back. Because what's going to happen is, as you draw your patterns, and each one of these areas is going to have a different pattern, as you draw your patterns, it's going to force creases to end up in the paper, so that when we color it, the white lines will show up where your patterns were. Okay? So this is still kind of a rough draft. You don't have to draw all the patterns first in pencil unless you're totally needing to plan it out. You should be able to, because you've been practicing patterns for a couple of days, you should be able to draw the patterns with the red pen directly on there. And by the way, these red pens work a lot better than these. These ones are more fine-tipped. Someone put two caps on one. These are more fine-tipped. These are more medium-tipped, and the medium ones work a lot better. What you're going to do is it's actually going to make your hand get a little tired, because you have to press down fairly hard. Not so hard that it goes through the paper. Trust me, at least one person in here is going to push too hard, and it's going to go right through the paper, and you're going to end up with ink on the board. Don't worry about it. We'll fix it. We'll find a way to fix it. Okay? So, this is the next part of the process. Okay? After you've done a full page of patterns, can I borrow your pattern page? After you've done a full page of patterns on this practice sheet, do the drawing in your folder. I'll take a look at it, possibly make some suggestions, and then you're going to draw it on another blank piece of paper, which there are some right next to this bucket up here. And then you're going to transfer that to this by using one of these ballpoint pens. And then the last step is going to be coloring it. Question?
So basically, so you draw your landscape and you just draw a couple more lines through it?
Yeah, basically imagine where the lines go. So this is a cypress tree, this part right here. Goes all the way around like that. It's in the extreme foreground, so like it's almost blocking your view. And then I just did a series of mountains. As the mountains go further back, they're more jagged. And then I added a few clouds and a stylized sun. And each one of these areas, including little tiny areas like this one, has its own distinct pattern to it. See the little balls in that one? You can actually still cause more things to stand out when you color it by the color choices you use. Okay? You can make it purple. You can make it any random color you want. I'm going to introduce two new definitions tomorrow. I'm going to talk about different types of abstraction. Question?
So do you draw any like random lines though? Like
they're fairly random, yeah, but they're you can still make out the fact that it's a landscape. It's mountains. I don't have a lake in this one, but a lot of y'all have lakes and streams and stuff. Someone even had a road. So yes, they're somewhat random. This is not. I didn't take this directly from a photo. I took it from 2 or 3 photos.
okay.
Okay, so the tree was in one photo, the middle range area was in another, and the mountains back here were in another.
Oh yes.
Okay, And the clouds I just sort of made up. That wasn't really directly from a photo. Okay, so now you can listen to music. You don't have any more questions. Oh, let me say one more thing. Wait, one more thing. So, if you look at the board, hatching is a technique that's used to create tones or shading by drawing close together parallel lines. The closer they are together, the darker the area will look. The farther apart they are, the lighter it will look. Now here's where it's going to get confusing. For our purposes in here, because our final is going to be using the oil pastels on top of here, the closer together your lines are, and when you start doing cross-hatching and patterns, the lighter it's going to be because you're actually revealing the white lines. So you have to sort of think in reverse. It's not going to probably make a huge bit of difference. But if you'll notice on here, I actually did this pattern. Has anyone done this pattern? With these curved lines? Okay. I added some shading to one side of it by just doubling up the lines and making them short to make it look like they have shading. When I do the coloring, this part's going to be lighter than this part, depending on the color I use. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If it doesn't, it will when you see the final, because I'm going to keep working on this one.
That's cool.
Okay, so, well, yours is probably going to be cool too, based on which patterns and how you color it. The cool thing about this is, has anybody ever been told you got to stay in the lines when you color?
Yeah. No. You don't have to?
No, there's almost no way to. You'll find that out when you start coloring it.
Oh yeah. You have to do that.
I'm sorry?
You don't know where the things are.
Well, you'll have this picture. You'll have this one until you're finished.
Is this lecture going to be on Google Classroom?
It's going to be in Google Classroom, yes. Any other questions?